What if I told you that Tom Holland's new Spider-Man era isn't really about becoming a bigger superhero? It's about becoming a completely different Peter Parker. For years, we watched Tom Holland grow from a young actor into one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. But now, something has changed. Spider-Man is no longer just another role for Tom. It has become one of the biggest parts of his identity. And if you watch this video until the end, you'll understand the real truth behind Tom Holland's new Spider-Man era. Why this version of Peter Parker is different, what Tom himself wants from the character, and why this could be the most important chapter of his Spider-Man journey yet. So let's go back to where it all started, from unknown actor to Spider-Man. Before Tom Holland wore the Spider-Man suit, he wasn't the global superstar we know today. He was a young British actor who had already shown his talent, but nobody could have predicted what would happen next. Then came Spider-Man. When Tom was announced as Peter Parker, fans immediately had one question. Could this young British actor really become Spider-Man? The pressure was enormous. Spider-Man was already one of the most famous superheroes in the world. Tobey Maguire had created an iconic version. Andrew Garfield had brought something completely different to the character. So Tom Holland wasn't simply playing Spider-Man. He was stepping into a role that millions of people already had an emotional connection with. And instead of trying to copy the actors before him, Tom created his own version. A younger, more energetic, more awkward, and more relatable Peter Parker. And audiences connected with him almost immediately. Then everything changed. Tom's Spider-Man wasn't just powerful. He was human. He made mistakes. He got nervous. He joked when he was scared. And most importantly, he still felt like a teenager trying to figure out his life. That became one of the biggest reasons audiences loved him. But then came Spider-Man: No Way Home. Peter Parker's world completely collapsed. His identity was exposed. His life was destroyed. And by the end, Peter made one of the biggest sacrifices we've ever seen. From Tom Holland's Spider-Man, everyone forgot Peter Parker. His friends forgot him. His old life was gone, and Peter was left alone. That ending wasn't just emotional. It completely changed the character, because for the first time, Peter Parker had nobody. The new Peter Parker. And this is where the new era becomes interesting. Spider-Man: Brand New Day doesn't simply continue the old story. It begins with a Peter Parker who has already lost almost everything. Sony's official description says Peter is now fighting crime full-time as Spider-Man in a world that doesn't remember him, while his old friends have moved on without him. Think about that. Peter has the powers. He has the suit. He has the experience. But he doesn't have the normal life he once wanted. And that creates a completely different Spider-Man. He's not just fighting villains anymore. He's fighting loneliness. He's fighting his past, and he's trying to figure out who he is. When nobody remembers the person behind the mask, that's a much more mature story. This time, Spider-Man is different. One of the most interesting things about this new era is that Tom Holland's Spider-Man is no longer simply the funny kid from Queens. He's experienced, he's stronger, he's more independent, and he's carrying years of emotional baggage. The new movie also pushes Spider-Man into a more mysterious and grounded direction. Tom has described the film as having a mystery element, with Peter himself sometimes feeling lost about what's happening. And that's important, because Spider-Man has always been at his best when Peter doesn't have all the answers. He's powerful, but he's still human. The physical transformation. And then there's Tom Holland himself. Playing Spider-Man at this level isn't easy. The role demands intense physical preparation, stunt work, and constant training. And this time, Tom had to take that physical commitment even further, because this isn't the same Peter Parker audiences saw years ago. He's older, he's more experienced, and the action is bigger. But there's something even more interesting. Tom's Spider-Man isn't supposed to look like an unstoppable superhero. He's supposed to look like someone who has been through things, someone who gets hurt, someone who keeps getting back up. And that difference matters, because the strongest Spider-Man isn't necessarily the one who can punch the hardest. It's the one who keeps moving forward when everything has already fallen apart. Tom Holland's biggest challenge. But here's the real challenge. How do you keep Spider-Man interesting after 4 movies? The answer isn't bigger villains or more explosions. It's Peter Parker. This time, the story focuses more on his personal life. His old friends have moved on, while Peter continues living as Spider-Man. And that creates something we don't always see in superhero movies. A hero can save everyone and still feel completely alone. Tom doesn't want to leave Spider-Man yet. Tom Holland has spoken about staying with Spider-Man long enough to eventually help pass the role to another generation. That's a huge change from the young actor who was simply excited to get the role. Today, Tom isn't just playing Spider-Man. He's helping define the character for a new generation. And despite building a career outside Marvel, he keeps coming back to Peter Parker. Why? Because Tom is growing up with him. We watched Tom become an adult, and now we're watching Peter Parker grow up too. The real truth. So what's the truth behind Tom Holland's new Spider-Man era? It's not about making Spider-Man bigger. It's about making him deeper. Peter has lost his identity, his relationships, and the life he once knew. Now he has to build something new. That's why Brand New Day feels like more than another Spider-Man movie. It's a reset, a new beginning. And the real question isn't whether Tom Holland can play Spider-Man. We already know he can. The question is, how far can this version of Peter Parker go? Tom Holland is no longer the kid who was lucky enough to become Spider-Man. He's now carrying one of the world's biggest superheroes into its next generation. And if this era succeeds, we may look back at Brand New Day as the moment Tom's Spider-Man became more mature, more emotional, and more human. Outro. So tell me, is Tom Holland still the best Spider-Man of this generation? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you enjoyed this story, like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more celebrity stories. Because sometimes, the truth behind the mask is more interesting than the hero wearing it.